Can everyone see my slides now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, hi everyone. My name is Lynn, and today with one of my research partners, we will talk about a pilot study in China which focuses on mothers' perceptions of their children's future possibility development. And the project is under the supervision of Dr. Michael Nekla, and we also get advice from Dr. Zhang and Dr. Feng from Northeastern Normal University. So there are three members on our team. Zihan is actually the initiator of the project, and she is a recent graduate from the master's program in interdisciplinary studies in human development, Penn GSE. She's currently working full time in China and unfortunately could not join the presentation. So Qinlin and I will be the two presenters today, and we are current PhD student in the same program. So the structure of today's short presentation, we will very briefly talk about the background of our work and the methods of our pilot study. And then we focus more on the preliminary findings and things. And finally, we talk a little bit about the implications of our work. So as we mentioned, we focus on Chinese mothers' perceived possibilities of their children's future development. So when we talk about a child's future possibility, the support from the external world is actually very important, especially the family, because we know parents, they not only provide resources and direct assistance to support their children realizing their future possibility, but they also talk with their children about those future possibilities, which may eventually shape their children's own perceptions of future possibilities. So as an exploratory study, the first question we ask is the what question. So what are some perceived possibilities Chinese mothers hold for their children? And additionally, we ask the question why and how. So which means we try to understand some factors that contribute to Chinese mothers' perceptions of their children's possibility. And we also try to understand what they do based on those perceptions of future possibilities and how they communicate with their children about those possibilities. So we further divided those antecedent factors into two categories. The internal factor include parental expectations and beliefs. And the external factors, we focus on socioeconomic status, child's own perceptions of their future possibilities, children's own capabilities, such as their academic performance. But we also focus on developmental stages. So that means we use a cross-sectional design of our study. So previous studies on Chinese parental beliefs have shown that the Chinese parents are greatly influenced by Confucianism, which emphasize on several aspects of development, which includes acquiring knowledge and education, especially through efforts and diligence, virtual moral education, filial piety, which means the children should respect the elder people in their family, try to fulfill the family obligation, bring glory to the family, at the same time reduce the trouble for their parents. And finally, the interpersonal harmony, which means the parents have the responsibility to educate their children to become people with good characters. At the same time, the children should contribute to the society. So according to those beliefs, research has shown that Chinese parents, their parental practices pay a lot of attention to academic related activities. So they will convey their high expectations to their children, especially the high academic expectations. They engage their children in many learning activities, even during preschool years. And also they directly monitor and assist in their children's homework completion. Additionally, when they communicate with their children, they emphasize social norms. As for the external factors, the socioeconomic status has been found associated with parenting practices and parenting styles. And research on China, for example, has shown the authoritarian parenting and neglected parenting are most are more common in lower SES parents. And there has been a qualitative study showing that lower SES Chinese parents, might feel they are incompetent in providing sufficient support to their children, even though they also have very high expectations for their children, especially in terms of the academic and career development. Comparatively, the middle class Chinese family might emphasize more on well-rounded development of their children and paid more attention to build good parent-child relationship. So finally, we want to emphasize that China is a country currently experiencing rapid economic growth and social change, which might lead to changes in parental goals and their practices, and even conflicting beliefs regarding child rearing. Also probably more conflicts between the child and the parent, because the children may challenge their parents regarding education and occupational values. So to be more specific, we have 3 research questions. The first is, what are the main values and behaviors of urban Chinese mothers of children in different age ranges regarding the possibility development of children? And if the results are different across mothers and age groups of children, what are the main reasons that cause these differences? The second is, what are some perceived conflicts, if any, between the child and mother with respect to possibility exploration? And finally, we want to get to know what do parents do to achieve their child rearing goal and their children's possibility development. And then I will hand over to my partner Qinlin to talk about the methods.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Qinlin. Now I'm going to introduce you to our study method. So for this study, we plan to recruit a total of 60 mothers living in one city in urban China. All participants are divided into 4 groups according to their children's age, with 15 mothers of children entering elementary school, 15 with children entering middle school, 15 with children entering high school, and 15 with children graduating from high school. All mothers are required to speak Mandarin, and they are also required to be the primary caregivers of their children. Specifically, we define primary caregivers as those who mainly take care of the children academically, psychologically, and physically. In this study, a mother who is considered a primary caregiver of her child must first be the child emergency contact at school, second, be the child's family representative who attend class meetings and gatherings, and third, taking care of the child's activity of daily life in areas such as eating, sleeping, playing, and extra. Next slide, please. Thank you. So for the design of the study, we will first use a pre-screening survey to determine the mother's eligibility in this study. We will also collect social demographic information such as the child age, child gender, child siblings, household income, maternal education level, and extra. As we have already discussed before, the study will adopt a qualitative format, and to guide semi-structured interviews, will follow an interview protocol titled Maternal Perceptions of Child's Possibility Development. All interview questions can be divided into 3 major themes: parental goals and definition of the children's possibility, conflicts between parents and children with regard to their possibility, and how parents and children interact and navigate through these conflicts. Next slide, please. So currently we are in the process of pilot study, and we already have interviewed 7 mothers. Here are our participants. All our 7 Chinese mothers, they are between the age of 38 to 50. We have 1 from low income family, 2 from middle income, and 4 from high income families. 2 of our participants are nurses, 1 is a housewife, 2 are government officials, and 2 are nuns. 3 of our participants have only 1 child, 2 of them have 2 kids, and 2 are nuns. 6 of our participants are married and 1 is divorced. For the child age, among our 7 participants, one child is from kindergarten, 3 are from elementary school, 1 from middle school, and 2 from high school. Next, I will turn over to Lynn to provide some preliminary results of our interviews.
Thank you, Qinlin. So in total, we have 6 things because we are doing the preliminary analysis. So we focus more on the common things instead of age differences. So the first thing is the importance of higher education. So we found that almost every mother emphasized the importance of education, especially getting higher education during our interview. And when they talked about children's future possibilities, they mentioned that the future depends heavily on whether they can get good education. As we can see from the quotes, even the mother of a kindergarten children who is just 5-year-old said her career success will depend on her academic performance. And not to mention a mother who is a 12th grader, which means the child is going to take the big exam, the college entrance examination in China very soon. She said if he succeeds and get into a good university and major, the possibility to reach his goal is high. Otherwise, he has to do another year and his choice is limited because his poor academic performance. The next thing is emphasizing the interpersonal factors because when mothers talked about positive and negative factors in actualization of future possibilities, they put more emphasis on their children's internal factors, such as motivation, great interests, and tended to de-emphasize the impact of outside factors, as we can see from those quotes, the internal motivation. And if someone wants to do something and he enjoys doing, I think there's no external obstacles could stop him, such and such. So the next thing is having a decent job. So we found that most of our mothers, when they talk about career development, they talk about their expectations for their children to have a decent job. And when they talk about even their understanding of their children's own goals, they also emphasize that their children wants to have a decent job, and which means a job that enjoy very high social status in China. So we have, for example, a child who wants to become a professional video game streamer who is a kind of like job not very well recognized in China, not like teacher or doctor in China. And the mother said the child is kind of worried about it's not fit the man's social value, and also another one who wants his child to become a Chinese geography teacher. She said, I think 90% of the Chinese parents would agree that teacher is a good career in China. So the fourth thing is lacking systematic career planning. So we found that when we ask the mothers how they communicate with their children and what they do to support their children's career preparation, they told us that they don't have serious or very formal communication with their children about this, but usually they do this via very casual chat with their children. And sometimes when they talk about career development, they also don't actually talk about career. They emphasize academic instead. So we feel like they sometimes confuse career development and the academic performance, or back to the first thing, they just emphasize the importance of getting very good academic performance in career development. And the fifth thing is teammates. So when we ask the parents, the mother, their role in child rearing, especially for the older kids, mothers consider themselves as teammate of their children. So which means they share the goal with their children and work together with their children to support them to reach their goal. And sometimes they also study and improve themselves at the same time while supporting their children. For example, we have a mother said, I learned how to be a parent starting from zero. And the mother said she doesn't know what adolescent is, but after she worked with his son, when the son encounters some problem and she learns what the adolescent is from books and learning, she gets to know more about his son and what adolescent is. And Chinese mothers also, from these quotes, help the children to look up school information because the child is currently in school and not very convenient to search online. They still emphasize their efforts to improve academic performance as a team member. The last thing, but not least, is the conflicting beliefs and goals. So some mothers, we found that they felt their beliefs may conflict with the common beliefs or practices in the current Chinese society, and sometimes they might not very sure what whether their decision making was correct. So for example, the second grader mother said, sometimes I'm not sure whether I'm doing the right thing because I didn't want to send my son to take extracurricular or academic tutoring outside of school. I want him to have time to play, but I know that there are some classmates in his school do those things every day from Monday to Sunday. And another mother said the trend is like this. The trend is everyone getting tutoring outside of school. And we did much less of that, although we also make him get some tutoring. I don't feel China has school emphasize well-rounded development. So that's all the things we have right now. And then we want to talk about implications, Qinlin.
So there are two major implications that we have obtained from our pilot interviews. The first is about career planning and counseling. As we just discussed, one common theme found across our 7 mother participants is that most Chinese mothers do not communicate formally, directly, or openly with their children about their career preparation. And this lack of in-depth communication with regard to their future career possibilities or preparation can be seen either from their way of communicating or their lack of engagement. To be more specific, most mothers included here did not directly talk with their children about their desired careers. The more popular way of this kind of interaction is facilitated through either observation, school assignment, or career talk. In other words, when asked about their children's desired careers, most mothers could only make a guess and infer what their children are thinking. Another characteristic of parent-child communication about career among Chinese mothers is that most mothers do not engage in a very clear path of career planning. Even when children explicitly express their goals, most mothers regard them as changing and highly unstable. Few mothers would actually invite and help their children to look into the career and prepare for it. We think this lack of career planning or counseling among Chinese mothers is partly due to their association of a good career with higher education. We can see this widely accepted pipeline in the mother's perception that the primary job of their children should be to get into a good high school, a good college, then that is how they can get a good job. Mothers have linked college and higher education strongly with future job opportunities, and as such, they also highly correlate good grades with good careers. The golden standard of how a child should live has limited the possibility outside of a good college. We encourage future research to actually look more into this topic while also including the children's perspective. That concludes the implication part of our study.
Yeah, I think that's all our presentation, and special thanks to Dr. Nakula, Dr. Zhang, and Dr. Feng for giving us all those advice.
Thank you, Lynn and Qinlin. I really hope that the full study gets off the ground because you've learned so much in the pilot study already.